Good evening on this Wednesday, July 18th. This is your tropical weather update from 28storms.com and the Hurricane Tracker app. Starting off in the Gulf of Mexico this time, we do see some sporadic convection to the west of Florida. And anytime there's convection over the Gulf during hurricane season, it does bear some watching. But this convection is mainly related to an upper level low that is situated over the Georgia and South Carolina coastline. And we see another more impressive upper level low coming in from the east over the Bahamas. So conditions in the upper levels does not support anything tropical, but we will stay in this rather active and wet pattern from Louisiana eastward over the next few days, and those daily rainfall chances will be on average about 50 to 70%. Along with these daily coastal showers, you will run the risk of the occasional waterspout, and this was the case just to the southeast of Brunswick, Georgia, and this was a radar frame captured earlier this afternoon. And during this time, there was a confirmed waterspout to the southeast of Brunswick, and it was located over the Intracoastal Waterway. And as you can see, Brianna Brimhall captured this photo. Despite the ongoing festivities, you can easily make out the waterspout in the background. And even though the people down here didn't seem to be too worried about the system, you still want to keep an eye to the sky because waterspouts can and do cause damage in localized areas. Elsewhere in the tropics, we do have a weak tropical wave approaching 40 degrees west longitude, and it does have a 1014 millibar surface low associated with it. And upper level conditions are somewhat favorable because we do have an upper level ridge located over the wave axis, so that's helping to keep those shear values generally below 10 knots. But the combination of a lack of surface convergence combined with this dry air to the east of the Lesser Antilles should prevent the system from doing much of anything. In the eastern Pacific, Tropical Storm Fabio has weakened below tropical depression status, so advisories are no longer being issued by the Hurricane Center, and you can see the remnants of it still to the southwest of California. And some of this moisture has indeed been able to make it into the California coastline, but it is still relatively dry out there, so the rainfall chances will not be maximized all that much. The rest of the eastern Pacific is quiet for now, but we do have some isolated convection to the south of the Gulf of Tonopec, and some of the guidance is indicating that we could see another tropical disturbance try to organize within the next 4 to 7 days. The latest short-term and medium-range forecast from the ECMWF is still not very encouraging for anyone that is enthused about tropical cyclone development because it's keeping the surface pressures and ridging across the basin rather strong, so that is going to help suppress all of the convection to the south near the intertropical convergence zone. So it's looking like we're going to be in the clear for at least another week in the tropics with nothing imminent in the Atlantic. Maybe something to the south of Mexico, but even if something were to develop down there, the most climatologically favored track is out toward the west and away from land, but we'll keep an eye on it. Finally, we'll leave you with an update in terms of sea surface temperature anomalies, and this is the latest update as of the 16th of July from NESDIS. And we're not seeing much in the way of any changes. The Atlantic is still running average to slightly above average, while the Pacific is still starting to look more like an El Nino type setup, but it's going to remain relatively weak, so it's not going to completely shut down hurricane season, and we're still expecting things to ramp up at least a little bit as we head into August and September. So please don't get lulled into a false sense of security with it being relatively inactive over the last few weeks. Keep in mind that July is not a very active month in terms of total hurricane numbers, and even weak El Nino years can produce some very violent hurricane landfalls, so it's best to use this time wisely and prepare now so that we don't have as much to worry about during the peak of the season. So that's all we have for this evening from 28storms.com and the Hurricane Tracker app, and just remember, we'll be the first ones to let you know whenever there is a disturbance that's really worth monitoring.